Hey folks, this is Ben Yessel. How's it going? I have a few thoughts here for you. Maybe not just a few. But yeah. Um, just been doing a few different things today. By the way, uh, taught a piano lesson in the morning and um, wrote a piece of music which wasn't really my best stuff, but it was not terrible. It wasn't bad. And yeah, I just hung out with my roommates tonight. And I have a thought here that's just not leaving my psyche until I mention it. And it has something to do with, has something to do with how we see our parents as well as our peers, parents and peers, be us, be at whatever age we are, whatever position in life we are. And so it all depends on, we're all a little different. Each one of us, we're all a little different. And depending on what we're made of, like our psyche, our character, our intelligence, all this stuff, the different kinds of things we're good at, different kinds of aptitudes or insights or whatever. Depending on all that, we're going to see our parents, our peers quite a bit differently, I think. And the more that one becomes aware of all this, it's also another form of intelligence, right? There comes various points in time in life, not just one time, but there comes many points in life when you really start to question your parents' wisdom about something, or their thoughts about things. And it's not just when you're in your teens, it's many times yeah, this is one of the hard things about life is when you have to make big decisions. And if you are always often trying to work with your parents and what they want for you. But I don't know, it's just a very tough thing. And I tend to often gravitate toward people that are close to their parents, by the way, as far as women go. But there's another side to me, I suppose, that's a little different than that as well. But I tend to be more attracted to women that are not rebellious. That's the best way of putting it. Timid, timid and demure, quiet is more my style than strong woman. Yeah. Anyway, so okay. Some of us, I know we say we probably want, if we're single, we probably want somebody it's kind of in the middle somewhere, I suppose. But I really do like very quiet and easy to get along with women, at least for sure. So my train of thought goes something like this: I've asked myself, what am I truly afraid of? And not just that, but you know, I think it just is kind of like we often sense in ourselves, inside ourselves, who is our superior in whatever way. And there's a lot of things that we're we tend to have more aptitude in, whether we're more skilled at something than someone else or not, or who's more spiritual righteous than us, or we have a general sense of that. It's often very vague, of course. We try not to think of in terms of I try to be careful that way, I suppose, but it's just you know we always have our compasses up that way. We always have our radars up. We're always doing these comparisons, and we try not to do that, but we often, on some level, will do that. And our peers, hopefully, are those that are in a similar ballpark that we are, and our parents are hopefully more advanced, than we are, further along in life, not just age-wise, but hopefully other areas. And if they're not, see, if a parent is in many areas severely not as far along as when they're kids, this is when you get a lot of conflicts. I know when a kid becomes smarter, more mature, more righteous, whatever it is, beyond whether their parents are at, but yet their parents still want to be the parents. Man, I don't know. It's just that's tough. That's a tough one. In my, certainly in my case, my parents are definitely more mature than me. They're more experienced in life. I just think the world of them. So it's not like I had that problem, but it's just that sure. I mean, there are times when I don't know, but it's I think I'm probably more. I've always been more severe toward my peers than my parents. My parents are so amazing, and I hate to say it, but it's often been the case, and it's just because when most of the people you grew up with, and most of the people you've known even in your adult life, are just really kind of like idiots. That's the best way to put it. I it's just takes buckets of patience, endless amounts of patience. It's always better when it's always easier to manage when if people who are better people or kinder people or more Christ-like. I mean, if I was the only person who had an IQ over 120 that I knew, but everybody I was around, they were less intelligent, but they were very righteous, very kind, that would be just fine. Actually, that I'd probably get bored, intellectually, perhaps talking with people, but I can always do things of my own that are very satisfying intellectually. I don't need to always be talking to people that are very smart, but perhaps I'd miss that. But it would be very therapeutic being around very righteous people, I think. But it's interesting to ask yourself, putting yourself in these different situations. How would I fare around people that are more intelligent than me all the time? Would they get sick and tired of trying to be patient with me? As an example of somebody who has a higher IQ than me, so let's say Dolph Lundgren. Would Dolph Lundgren ever lose patience with me because I couldn't keep up with his knowledge of chemistry or, his quick insights about things? Well, I don't have that much lower IQ than Dolph. I mean, mine again is mid 120s. He's the 150s, I think, maybe 160. It definitely is quite a bit higher, but it's not like I don't think that he'd be. It wouldn't take excessive amounts of patience on his part. But and Dolph is just a pretty cool guy anyway. He's a really cool guy. Yeah, someone asked the question, how would Dolph handle being in an island? And he's the only person there that had 100, close to 160 IQ. And everybody's, uh, you know, mild retardation or something, or IQs of 70, 80, I don't know. At least 70, That, I don't know. Again, there's you'd be the natural leader, right? It's not just intelligence, it's also other things, but there are times when you'll just have somebody who's the natural leader because they are more intelligent than others, or they're more confident, they're bigger, they're older, whatever it is. But this is the kind of stuff that really, there's so many different angles to this, so many different tangents. The two questions being again, where do I stand with my parents. Not just if they love me or not, or they hate me or what. That's a different subject, I suppose. But but do I, how do we measure up? You don't want to compare yourself too much, but we always do this. But as an adults, I suppose, it's inevitable that we'll do this. And if we're really honest with ourselves, I think the vast majority of the time we'll say, oh, you know what? We're on the same page. They're not all that, they have things they're better at than me, and I might have things I'm better at than them, and that's okay. That's probably what most of us are going to say most of the time. Again, it's tough when, parents or whatever. We need to love everybody. But, but man, peers, sometimes the tougher thing is to always, again, to always see things eye to eye with your peers because, your parents, you kind of, you're commanded to, it's in the Ten Commandments to honor your father and mother. And you're also commanded to love one another, So that's also a commandment, but it's maybe not, it's more of a general thing. And so, if we're just not getting along with people that are our true peers and colleagues, it's tough. It's hard. It's reassuring to know that people that have unusually high IQs, especially, have a hard time with the general public a lot of times. It takes a lot of patience. A lot of patience. Now they're composers, by the way, that probably have it harder than I did. I mean, that's why composers sometimes are so surly and grumpy, and why they have all these. They could be angelic at the same time. They could be tyrants. Could be brutal. Beethoven, the way he talked to people, what he said, yeah, I totally get it. Chopin, same deal. Debussy, there's all these things that people say about these composers. You know what? Half the time, I'm inclined to believe it's just because they're really intelligent, man. Really good composers, especially. I'm talking more classical, but really like film, all kinds of folks. Anybody that can write a great melody, or two, or three, or four, or five, or a dozen, or hundreds, whatever. We're talking about people that have considerably high IQs in general. And so, yeah, I mean, like, to know that these guys sometimes have strong emotions and strong mood swings, maybe, and that they can be so vicious in what they say. At the same time, they can be so angelic, and that's because honestly, some people just, it's almost impossible to see some people as being like basically pea-brained to them, just pea-brained, like, Beethoven's quote, I think something along the lines that there are many different kings or whatever, but there's only one Beethoven. Sure, it can sound arrogant, but I mean, who could compose like Beethoven? Mozart? Okay, huh? This is back at the turn of between the 1700s and 1800s, right? Right in that era. There weren't too many, on his same page. I mean, if you think about it, Anyway, just a few thoughts for you guys. I think the overall solution, of course, is to try to seek out people that you relate to the best, when relates to the best. But man, I mean, it's hard to be humble and be very intelligent. It's hard. It's only easier when you are trying to always use what you have to help other people, to serve other people. That's one of the things that can counteract arrogance. But a fair number of people are very intelligent or very arrogant, and it's just so hard for them not to be. And you guys can see why. It's very much a social thing. It's It's who can someone relate to that has 190 IQ? How many people in the world have that high of a IQ intelligence? You just so you have to look at character. You look at other things to try to, you know, not be so smug. You know. Anyway, you guys take care. I'll leave your thoughts, leave your thoughts comments below. Catch you guys later. Take care.